Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas. Against the Ropes podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda. Welcome back to the show, Chris. We back.
Yeah.
We back. Hey, we got a special guest, man. You guys see it there on your screen. Undefeated, 29-0. He's been on our show many, many times, so we always appreciate him hopping on, talking to us. A lot to talk about, man. Things heating up at 140. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, Arnold Barboza Jr. Thank you for joining us, brother. Appreciate you.
Man, thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me. It's always an honor, man.
ABJ,
Yeah.
man. A lot going on. Chris, go ahead.
No, like I said, we were saying behind the podcast, man. We've had you on, for a long time now, Arnold. There's been a lot of stuff going on. This is probably, I think I saw somewhere. This is 2024 is your year, right? This is the year you've been, waiting for. A few weeks removed from your last fight. Tell me how you're feeling.
Oh man, I feel amazing. Feel amazing. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. I'm ready to get back in there, man. So hopefully we can get some fight news soon.
Yeah, and again, the first thing that you gotta do is get the job done. You can never overlook anybody, right? So you got the job done. We also saw a little bit of movement after your fight. We saw you get in there with Teofimo. I know that's a name that you want. You want obviously the big names at 140. Tell me a little bit about what happened there after that fight.
Oh man, it's just bunch of just like I explained, to a lot of people, it's just a lot of built-in frustration. You know what I mean? And a lot of it's like 10 years of just being quiet. You know what I mean? Especially the last like 4. So it's just a lot of that, man. And man, what can I say? I got a little a little hot or a little heated. You know what I mean? Seeing them face to face, it's always social media this, social media that. So when you see them in person, it's kind of like it's personal. So it was just man. Overall, man, it was a great weekend. Important thing is, like I said, we got the win. Came out, no injuries. We're not gonna have no setbacks. So we're excited. We've been back in the gym already for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So ready to go.
Arnold, I've never seen you so hyped after a fight. Obviously, the post-fight press conference, you had a lot to say, and you went damn near at everybody in that building. You ran into Rollies. Of course, you ran into Teofimo Lopez, and your people, too, were heckling him. He went down the hall, didn't say a word. Let's go one by one. What was the energy like? First, I think Rolly was the first guy you went up to, no?
I I don't remember. I think it was maybe Teal's dad first,
Okay.
and then I think it was like, and then it was Rolly. Um, you know, Rolly. It's hard for me to take him serious. I mean, he's a funny dude. So it's kind of like I don't know if he was messing around or he wasn't, but like I said, me and him, we've been cool. You know what I mean? We've been like, every time we see each other, we talk and she shake hands and shit. But that time I don't know, something just triggered him and got him to like where he kind of flipped the whole script. So I was like, all right, cool, man. This is what you want. This is the route you want to take. Like we can take it. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not worried about him. He has a big task in Pitbull crew. So let's see how that turns out for him.
Yeah, let's get into that because obviously 140 is very hot right now. Probably the hottest division in boxing. You just signed with Golden Boy, so of course, Ryan always has a lot to say. He announced fights, then he said never mind. Now Pitbull's fighting Rollies. Like, what do you think about that whole spectacle? And Brian, I guess I don't know, uh, throwing jabs at Oscar.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what? It's been like a circus. You know what I'm saying? And the Pitbull and Rolly. I mean, it's just crazy to me. It amazes me how someone could just come from 35 to 40 and get a title shot. Man, I just been sitting here waiting for a while. It's kind of funny to me, but you know, it's boxing. You know what I mean? Promoters are gonna do what they want. You know what I mean? Sanctioning bodies are gonna do what they want. But hey, you know what? Still want to fight for a belt. And it's crazy. The whole situation going on with Ryan and all this stuff. But I think the Ryan and Haney fight gets made. I think that's probably the fight for April 20th. But hopefully, I give him credit. I give Ryan credit, and for wanting that fight and getting that big fight. So it's good for him. It's good for him securing the bag and hopefully we can get on the co-main of that card. If that is going to be the card.
And Arnold, obviously the last time, the first time we saw you with 2019, you were with Bob Arum. You had a big win over Michael Alvarez. It almost felt like the sea was going to open up and you were going to start having these big fights. Fast forward to today, that stuff did not happen. You're now with Oscar De La Hoya. How do you feel personally being now with Oscar and the track record that he has?
Oh man, it's been amazing, man. It's been it's been a blessing. To be a promoter, to feel wanted. And to get treated like family. You know what I mean? And they've made me feel like I feel like I should have been feeling like a few years ago. Like you said, well, after that Mike win, I thought doors were gonna open, and then especially after the Salcedo fight, I thought for sure the title shot next, and nothing never came like we thought it would. We're hoping that Oscar can make things happen, which I know he can. You know what I mean? He's seen him working with Eddie Hearn and making a big step like that and putting fights together. So we're excited. We're excited to talk and see what the future is and hopefully get something soon.
Hey, if you guys are live, write your questions down. Big Bro says he agrees. Cruz and not deserve a title shot. Write your questions down, guys. We're not gonna hold Arnold for too long. He's been in the gym. He's been training. So get your questions in now while you can. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, and of course, Arnold, you've never taken the easy road. You've taken some fights that are very tough. You've even gone off and called guys like Leon Paro that not too many people know, but you know that you got to, keep fighting and keep winning. What are the names that most entice you? What are some of those names in maybe that Golden Stable fight that you feel might be, in the horizon?
Well, I think I think Ryan's probably gonna be booked. Right? All the champions are kind of like kind of booked. Kind of, if Haney fights Ryan, then that's the championship right there. Teal's fighting Jermaine. Sabrina Matias is still out there. Rolly is fighting Pitbull, and then but a fight that I really want, if I can't get into these fights, is the Jose Ramirez. He's just signed with Golden Boy, and I'm very happy for him. I have a lot of respect for him, but that's a fight that I think has been should have happened a long time ago, and I think that's a fight that is bound to happen, So I'm excited, I want that fight, and now, I think with Golden Boy it'll probably be easier to make that fight. So now there's nothing in the way to make that fight. So I think that fight could happen. I think our paths are lined up right now. He gets through, he fights in April, and hopefully we can meet later on this year.
Hey, and let me give you credit for this, Arnold, because I don't see anybody saying Subriel Matias' name. I mean, you guys see right here the rankings top 10 to me. I mean, Subriel Matias, dangerous guy. Literally, no one's saying his name. But let me go ahead and read the names here that BoxRec has on top 10. Devin Haney, Teofimo in this order. Regis 3, Hitchens 4, U 5. Ryan Garcia 6, Subriel Matias 7, Jose Carlos Ramirez 8, Rolando Romero 9, and Josh Taylor 10. I mean, those are a lot of names and a lot of possibilities for you and really for a lot of these guys to get some good fights in.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time, before we have to start fighting each other. I mean, it's just I don't see how we can. I'm gonna do my job and fight who they offer me and put in front of me and go with the plan. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day it's gonna have to start happening. So a lot of those fighters were on the same network. We're not in different networks. Like we're not really on PBC, which PBC is kind of a problem, right? That's the kind of like company that kind of does their own thing. It's like in their own little bubble. But you've seen Heron and we're DAZN and Golden Boy we're DAZN. So I mean at the end of the day I think those are all possibilities.
1000%. And look, I think we would all agree here in the chat, but who do you think is the easiest out of all these guys? I think we are all thinking one name, but I want to hear it from you.
You talking about the champions?
Yeah, 140, the guys that I named, the guys in the top 10. I don't know if you remember all those names, but
Yeah, I think if Rolly was on there, I think
for
he'd
sure,
be the best chance at a belt for anybody.
100%.
Um,
Yep.
I think Pitbull Cruz beats him, stops him. I think even
Woo.
but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know.
All right.
I could be wrong.
Chris was kicked out for a little bit. He's back now, ladies and gentlemen. You heard there, Arnold Barboza Jr. Hey, we all agree with you. Let us know in the comment section. I think we all agree with Rolly being the easier one of those guys. And look, we're just keeping it real. Rolly's a friend of the show too. We know him, but those are
And then don't forget too Barroso, man. He did his thing. He's a champion too, right? He's an interim champion, WBA. He should be the one fighting Rolly right now, and kind of I don't know if he took step aside money or what, but that's a fight that should have been happening with Rolly. So I mean, I would welcome that fight as well. Barroso, was available and he needed someone to fight, and so I'll be right there to fight for the interim belt.
there you have it. Let's go to some comments here, Chris, before you get your last questions off. Boxing Guru says, when can we see you back?
Man, I'm trying to have a meeting this week with Golden Boy and hopefully see we can figure the things out and hopefully fight by April. I want to fight April, latest April. I want to fight March if I can, but April is gonna be the latest. Hopefully that I could fight.
He also adds, you schooled Sorrilla, who made Regis look terrible. That shows you levels. And then people,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh yeah, man. It's funny because Regis told me too. Like after I fought Zorrilla, like he's like, "Oh, you just won 10 rounds with the guy Zorrilla. Don't mention my name." And then after he fought him, I kind of retweeted that, and I was like, "Okay, this aged well." So
Now, Sorrilla's a legitimate dude, man. He has a ton of power, I'm sure. We spoke, I believe, after the fight. We spoke after that fight with you, and you told us all about it. But some other comments here. People are saying, can't believe Rolly's a champ. And, yeah. Get your last questions in. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. So Arnold, like you said, you had this meeting with Oscar this week. What are some questions you're going to ask him? And if you can get the answers that you want, what are some of the answers that you would like to get from Oscar?
well, I think the important thing is that I want to leave with with a date or a timetable or an opponent or a plan. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna we're gonna ask questions and and give names and we can't get any names. So we're just gonna sit down and talk, man, and see what the future is and what route we're going and we kind of have a plan in place already, but just to see what's because things shift and things get crazy. So hopefully by April, man, I'm aiming for April. I really want to fight in April. I mean, I'm in the gym, I'm working, man. And then April's, not that far off. So, man, I just want to get back in there. Like I told Eric, when I signed, I said, man, Eric, like, I was like, I just want to be busy. You know what I mean? If I can't get the big fights and big names, it's fine. Just keep me busy, and then I'm pretty sure that will come, with activity. So I just want to stay busy.
Yeah, and our
What
boy.
would a successful year mean for you in 2024? How many fights for 2024?
Well, I'm aiming for the least three, the most. Hopefully, I could do like four. I know five would be too much. Especially this point in my career. But I could do it. But maybe too many days to take up. But for sure I want to do three fights. At least three fights. So if I can do four, man, if Golden Boy will bless me with four, I'll do it. But three fights is the minimum that I want to do this year.
Our boy Jesus checking into the chat. He says, "Fight ASAP." Also, also question: Teofimo Lopez, Jermaine Ortiz. How does that play out?
Oh man, you know what? I wasn't too impressed with Jermaine Ortiz's last fight. When he fought Moran. If I remember right, Ortiz got hurt by Moran. He got wobbled. So I think Teofimo takes it. I think Teofimo takes it. But you never know. Ortiz. Like I said, I haven't really paid too much attention to him. But like I said, it's boxing, man. Anything can happen. You seen when Deontay Wilder, that whole card was like an upset. So you never know, man. You never know boxing.
Some last comments here by the chat. They're saying, "Force that WBO Mando, bro," and they're also saying, "Make Teo fight you or vacate."
No, yeah, man, that's the plan. You know what I mean? That's the plan. That's why I want to stay active. Stay number one, and I know that he has the voluntary this one, and I think he has like a year, and then he has to do a mandatory. So by the end of this year, hopefully everything stays good and we become the mandatory.
El Pachuco
Hey,
says, "Arnold, saludos, compa. Mucha suerte con Golden Boy. It's going to be a great 2024 for you." Shout out to you, Pachuco.
Thank you, compa. Appreciate it.
as for me, Arnold, just wanted to say thank you for taking the time, bro. I know that you're busy. Like you told us, you go to sleep early, gotta wake up early, and get on that grind. We've always said this again with fighters. They see the bright lights, but they don't see that you guys put in day in and day out. So I know that patience is a word that very well, and hopefully this 2024 with Oscar, you're able to get those big fights.
Oh man, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. I really appreciate it, man. Since day one, you guys been there. I know that this year's gonna be a blessed year, man. I feel it, and so shout out to everybody, man, that's been supporting me, that keeps supporting me, that's gonna start supporting me. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you.
Hey, and look, you're getting a lot of opportunities too. I saw you on Power 106 the other day doing all these big interviews, man. Shout out to you. Best of luck. Mamba year, bro. You know what it is.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, okay? Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue the show. Thank you, Arnold.
Thank you, Arnold.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Oh man, Chris, I gotta fix you on the screen. Don't go anywhere. But ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're gonna be talking Jaime Munguia, of course, against John Ryder. Shout out to Arnold, of course. Real one, always checking in with us. I think the first time we had him on the show, Chris, was maybe 3-4 years ago. It's been a while. It's been a while. The last time we had him was last year, I believe, after that Zorrilla fight.
Yeah, I think the first time we had it was like 2019. I mean, we founded the podcast. I want to say 2018. Had him there back when we were at the studios in Carson. And such a cool dude, man. Such a great dude. And again, that's when he had that big win over Mike Alvarado. It seemed like the doors were going to open up. He was with Bob Arum. The Godfather seemed like he was going to put him in with big fights, but to no avail. But I'm glad that he's not with Oscar. I didn't get to tell them this, but Oscar's the type of guy that, he's not really here to, to protect your oath or to protect that record. He'll put you in with guys and that are dangerous. So again, I think I think he's gonna get some big fights. Like you said, if not 2024, at least stay busy, and those fights will come.
Yeah, there you have it. But we'll be talking Jaime Munguia. We'll be talking John Ryder. Chris, what were your thoughts? You were there in the building. How was the atmosphere? How was the crowd reaction? How was the post-fight reaction, interviews, all that good stuff?
If you saw the interview with Amir Khan, he was not lying. The crowd was electric. It almost felt like it was Canelo in there fighting. People were just, giving him so much love. We talked about Jaime Munguia, how in the past he hasn't convinced us. But I think that last fight, with Davidchenko, he gave us a fight of the year. To not just us, to many people. I think that kind of fight started getting the Mexican faithful to really buy into him. And again, this fight was electric. He did exactly what he needed to do. Win by knockout. He came out to Mexican music. He did everything perfect, and the crowd was amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Let me tell you this, man. Look, I feel like we've had some criticism for Munguia in recent years. We felt like he was getting stuck, like he wasn't progressing the way he should have. Maybe not taking the fights that he should have been taking. But let me tell you this, man. I'm actually kind of liking Munguia, man. At 168, he's looking strong. I like he's with Freddie Roach now. He's super cool with Erika Terrible Morales. El Terrible showed a video of him going to the dressing room, I believe, with Munguia. He was saying hi. They said what's up to each other like they were friends. It was a good, natural, real reaction. So it seems like they ended that on good terms. Now he's with Freddie Roach, and he's looking good. Defense still looking a little suspect. We don't expect that to change too much, possibly under Freddie. But Munguia's looking strong at 68. You see the power. Of course, people will compare. Oh man, Canelo wasn't able to stop Ryder, but you did. And your new boy Amir Khan, you ran into him just walking down the street, huh? In Phoenix, Arizona. He told you in that interview. Of course, a lot of that has to do with the wear and tear. Like Canelo broke the guy's nose. When they fought. But at the same time, you got to give Munguia some credit for stopping him. I'm kind of liking Munguia, man. Flaws and all, he's an entertaining guy.
Yeah, and it's funny that you talk about Amir because different fighters, but they have a lot of the stuff that's kind of similar. They're both flawed fighters, but people love when they got in there, mixed it up, and again, you're right, Gio. We criticize Munguia a lot, especially in the last 5, 6 years, but this last fight again, the Davidchenko fight, in this one, I think I'm siding with you. I'm starting to like this kid again. I think Freddie Roach being in his corner is a blessing. This fight reminded me a little bit of what Freddie Roach did with Tyson Fury. He just went on the offense. He's pretty much that's the type of style that Freddie employs to his fighters, and it's fitting Jaime Munguia well. And again, he's looking good, man. He's looking really good.
Yeah, Big Bro right here says Munguia improved slightly. Still no business fighting Canelo or Benavides. He said he saw people say he filled up the arena more than David Benavidez in his own hometown. And Jesus was asking about that attendance. Chris, how did the attendance look?
You know, the Golden Boy staff, they gave us the numbers. They said it was 10K plus. Normally, when I hear numbers, I'm very hesitant. But man, I was there and I saw the stadium and it was full. You know, I even recorded a few videos to show you guys. And yeah, dude, it was pretty packed. They're not paying me to say this. I promise you guys. But yeah, no, it was a great atmosphere. Again, I think it was because of that crowd that Jaime was able to get that knockout, because Ryder had some good moments in those middle rounds. And again, he's no pushover. He's been in there with the very best. And for a guy like Munguia to get him out, that's a statement. You saw Oscar afterwards. He got excited. You know, you never know as a promoter if the guy's gonna deliver on the goods. He might get the W, but he may not get the knockout. And Oscar was incredibly happy that Munguia, Jamie, as Amir Khan calls him, you know, got that W.
Is this his best win? I still think that the Lomachenko one was a good win. Can we consider this his best win? I think a lot of people on paper, you know, of course, when Canelo fought Ryder, he was a bum, right? But now that Munguia fought him, everyone's like, oh man, best name in his resume. Are we buying it?
Man, I think, like you said, on paper, it's the one that's going to elevate him the most. I don't think he's there yet to the levels of a Canelo. He probably needs one more fight. I think Amir Khan hit the nail on the coffin right there. Maybe 9 months time to get a fight like that. But on paper and with the faithful, with the Mexican fans, the guys that pay to see you fight, I think this was the most important one. I think the Lomachenko one is right there close to it. That one kind of set this one up. If that one was the third base, this one was a bit of a homer. So yeah, man, this one's the biggest one in my opinion to date.
Obviously, the knockout, right, is what a lot of people were looking for. How impressed were you by Munguia? I mean, I think early on in the fight, I think he just dropped Ryder in the first.
Yeah.
So did you think people kind of saw it coming, the knockout, or was, I don't think Munguia was ever in danger, even though he was taking a lot of punches. Like, there were some rounds where Ryder was able to connect a lot of right hooks, some punches to the body, but it just seemed like Munguia just overpowered him. I mean, he's a big guy.
Yeah, no, I was very impressed with Munguia, how he took those punches, because there were some. We talked about the defense. Sometimes, you know, like his defense is his chin, and there were some shots like he took from Ryder pretty flush, and you could see his legs. You know, they flustered a little bit, but you know he recovered very well, and he took the fight to Ryder. So even though Ryder landed some good shots in the middle rounds, Munguia just had that poker face, that Canelo-like poker face, and kept moving forward, and eventually it was the power and the volume that saw him get that knockout. So again, right now this Jaime Munguia is riding high, man.
Yeah, Big Bro says he showed better movement coming forward and jab. He had a lot of jabs. If you guys take a look at the punch stats, he landed a lot of jabs. I think around 150 punches landed. I think about 50 of them were jabs. So I think that's something. That's something there. That's an improvement. But Big Bro adds he still gets countered easily, blocks punches with his face, and which will be his demise against elite competition. Now, talking about competition, we'll go into you guys' other comments right here, but who should Jaime Munguia, as Amir Khan called it, you know, you were teaching him how to pronounce Munguia, but who should Munguia fight next? Let me pull up the poll for you guys. Chris, I don't think you've seen the results of this poll, but for you, your opinion, who should he fight next?
In my
you guys
opinion,
can tell us too in the comments section.
If he's considering somebody like Canelo, he's gonna have to fight somebody just like this fight, somebody that Canelo has fought, who's giving him many rounds. So the name that comes to mind is a guy like Caleb Plant. I think that's a perfect fight for Munguia. You know, Caleb Plant has experience. You know, still in his prime, very fresh fighter, very skilled boxer. That's a doable fight in my opinion for Munguia, and that one will tell us, and it will tell him exactly where he's at levels wise. So I think that's the fight that makes sense. He's a name fighter now. It's good money. That fight can sell out in Vegas. So again, it's a great fight. The Mexican fans will buy into it. So it makes sense. It makes sense for Caleb Plant to be next.
Okay, so on our poll, I should have probably added Benavidez. I didn't think that fight is even possible, but Benavidez came out and said some words. You guys got Munguia's reaction on camera, live, in the post-fight press conference. He basically said, hey, I'm not going to say anything. Munguia's pretty respectful. He just didn't even really reply to Benavidez, but the gentleman sitting to his left, I think he's also his promoter, no? Co-promoter, manager, whatever you want to call it. He said, hey, look, he said in Spanish, that's why Benavidez doesn't get a lot of these fights, because es grosero, he just talks a lot of shit. Like, he doesn't ask for a fight respectfully. He talks shit. So that's pretty much what they said. But the poll here, the three options were Canelo, Berlanga, and Charlo. If you guys see it there on your screens, Canelo 26%, Berlanga 53%, and Charlo 21%. Chris, what I'm getting out of this is most people, we got a lot of knowledgeable people, audience on our YouTube channel. Let's see how many people voted. 805 votes. 53%, that's a lot of people. 400 people. 400 plus said he should fight Berlanga. And what that tells me is maybe people don't trust him. People don't think he's ready yet for those big names. That's what I get from this poll, because Canelo, usually in any poll, people are just going to click his name just based off popularity. But it seems like they're saying, hey, Munguia's not ready yet.
Yeah. I think everybody out there knows he's not ready for a guy like Canelo. Even though, like, if they offer you that fight, that's a lot of money. So that's a lot of money to pass up, because you never know if that fight will come back. You never know how prideful or the ego kicks in for some of these guys. So, I mean, if that fight comes calling, take it. But I don't see him winning that fight, at least right now. That Berlanga one makes a little bit more sense. Obviously, Mexico versus Puerto Rico. A guy like Berlanga, that's he was very hyped in the beginning. We've seen that chinks in the armor. We've seen moments where we think that he's not going to be the monster that everybody portrayed. That one's a little bit closer. I favor Munguia in that fight, just based on experience and based on Berlanga just not being what many pundits thought that he was going to be. So that one makes sense. I still favor the Caleb plan. I think that one makes more sense to me, in my opinion. I want to see a Jaime Munguia be tested by someone that's already kind of climbed up the ladder. So that one makes sense to me. But I wouldn't be mad if he were to face a guy like Berlanga. That one's fireworks.
Okay, who do you favor, though, in that fight?
Munguia Plant or Munguia Berlanga?
Munguia Plant. Let's start with that one.
I think I would favor Munguia 55-45. Just because there's a lot of similarities between Munguia and Benavidez, where I think that volume and that power will break down Caleb Plant. But I wouldn't count on Caleb Plant. He can box, and I think he's learned a lot from those two fights with Benavidez and Canelo.
That might be considered a hot take there. I'm not gonna lie.
How do you see that fight playing out, Gio?
I don't know. All I'm gonna say is I don't know if I would be ready to jump out the window with that statement, Chris. I think Munguia still would have to prove a little bit to me. I mean, I don't think it's a bad take, but personally, if I had to put money on that one, I don't know. I don't know, man, because I think the styles I think the style will favor Caleb Plant, because look, he had some success against Benavidez. He was able to land some good punches. He just kind of gassed out once he felt the power. He retreated, didn't engage as much, held a lot. I think he would have a little more success with Munguia. I think Munguia might be slower on his feet, but Munguia is getting better. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Now, Big Bro also says Berlanga. Let's see. What am I looking at? I'll read it right now. But he says Berlanga, which he probably KOs in a perfect world. Plant or Charlotte, aka Charlo. Plant outboxes him, I think. But that's his level. He's not a top 5 super middleweight, he says. El Pachuco says people saying that Benavidez washes Munguia based on what? On winning an easy match against Andrade. He's not buying it. He's saying PBC produces the most and biggest hype job. So, yeah, man, it makes sense. Berlanga makes sense. He's fighting on the zone now, correct?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Obviously, the ones with Charlo maybe a little more difficult. Even Canelo has his deal with PBC, maybe a little bit more difficult. Benavides as well. But yeah, look, and as I think they were going back and forth about Derevchenko. Derevchenko, yeah, he was past his prime. You know, that was not the best. That was not the Derevchenko that, to me, someone said on the chat here that they thought he tied Golovkin. I thought he beat Golovkin, but I don't think we're talking about the same guy who beat Daniel Jacobs as well. That wasn't. Did he lose to Jacobs? I gotta look that up. I thought he defeated Jacobs, but anyway, that was not the same Derevchenko. He was past his prime. Same with Ryder. You know, Ryder got some big wins. He defeated Daniel Jacobs as well. But I don't think that was the same Ryder that took Callum Smith to 12 rounds, and even that fight, I thought he beat Callum. So we're not talking about the same guys. They're past his prime, but let me tell you that's great matchmaking, because those are two names on the resume that look real good. Munguia's 43-0 now. 43, right? And that resume is a little suspect, but those are two good names.
Yeah, no, again, I think right now it's all Munguia's, and that's, if there's a car and Canelo's driving, and I don't know who's riding passenger, maybe Caleb Plant, Benavides, and Munguia in the backseat, man. But they're knocking, and again, I think Amir Khan laid out some gems. You don't fight a Canelo right away. You wait 9 months. You wait for him to age a little bit, slow down a little bit. Just like Ryder has some wear and tear, you let Canelo take a little bit more wear and tear. But yeah, that's Munguia. I'm liking him. Again, I've been one of his biggest critics the last 5-6 years. I started off really liking him for having like a cojones to take on somebody like Triple G, and you know the years have continued, and he's been in some questionable, you know, fights where it's gone his way, where I thought it shouldn't have gone. But he's looking good, man. He's looking good with Freddie Roach, and yeah, man, I would love to one day see him get in there with Benavides and Canelo when the time is right, which is not too far off.
Hey, Big Bro says Pacheco's still a little young, but I might favor him against Munguia.
What? I don't know about that.
I'm not mad at that take. I'm not mad at that take. Pacheco, he's good. He's good. He's good.
So someone who's really good and I think doesn't have a lot of experience is Morrell. I think that guy's dangerous. You know, obviously he hasn't been there with big names, but a dangerous dude. Yeah. I like Pacheco, man. I like Pacheco, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, our guy Jesus saying Munguia's not fighting all those guys, Benavides, Morrell, Pacheco, Berlanga, and Billy, Beck the Bully, because Munguia has too many flaws, he says, and he gets badly hurt. That's what Jesus says. Hey, and Big Bro's right. Derevchenko lost a split decision to Daniel Jacobs. Yeah. So, look, man, Derevchenko, let me see his age real quick. He is 38 years old. 38 years old, Derevchenko. And Ryder is getting up there too. What is he, like 34, 35? So, look, great matchmaking for Munguia. To me, he looked good, you know, but let's see if he's ready for the elite level. You know, he's now at 168. You know, he can't take those punches like that from an elite guy, because he will get hurt. He showed a tremendous chin so far. You know, he's taken some shots from Derevchenko, from Ryder, but we'll see. I think it might be a little too early for one of those guys at 68, but we'll see what Berlanga does in his next fight. He hasn't looked too impressive. So I think the Berlanga one makes sense. Puerto Rico, Mexico, and then maybe try to get that payday against Canelo, which is going to sell. Hands down, it's going to sell. I mean, a Mexican, all-out Mexican war. Oscar De La Hoya is already trying to sell it as that. You know, of course, he wants to get in on the action, get his percentage, you know, but I think that fight might happen at some point with Canelo. Obviously, I'm sure we all favor Canelo, but I think it's a big mainstream fight.
Oh, you know, definitely. I think that obviously that one would break records. It's been, you know, like they say in the press conference, it's been a minute since like two big Mexican names have gone in, and so you have guys like Canelo, Benavides, and Munguia, all around there. the same weight class. So it's there's fights to be made there. Whether Canelo, who is the driver, in the driver's seat, decides that he wants these fights, that's to be decided. But I think the Mexican fans will clamor for those fights. The more Benavides and Munguia keep winning, the more they're going to get closer to Canelo, and he's not going to be able to deny them. So I'm not sure they're ready yet, but some people just want to see a good competitive fight, and you got three Mexican fighters in the same time in the same division. Why not?
Yeah, shout out to Mad Dog H checking in. He says Munguia looked better. Said Munguia looked better to him. So, yeah, look, he got the knockout. He got the knockout. I think that's one of the things we talked about last week. Like, what does Munguia need to do for us to come on here and say, hey, he looked good. Obviously the knockout, but I think the way he did it was what impressed me. I predicted decision. Chris, I think you did it as well, right? Decision for Munguia. So we didn't think he was going to get the job done this easily since round one. Like I said, he hurt John Ryder. So, performance, I'm probably going to give him a B plus, Chris. Maybe surprising to some people, but look, the arena looked hyped. Your guy Amir Khan said he was impressed by the Mexican fans, all the noise that they were making. The KO, the knockdowns. We saw clips of them, social media, YouTube. So people were talking about it. People were getting hyped. They're hyping up other fights. So I think he passed the test. We'll see what's next for Munguia. He said he won't be ready for May if they would want to make that fight, but maybe September. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not even sure he'll take on a guy like Munguia next, but we'll see. I may be wrong. I'm sorry, like Berlanga.
No, I agree that he gets a B plus in my book. The only thing that was missing was the defense. I think he's a little bit of head movement, a little bit of like, just don't let your chin be your defense, and he gets an A. But everything, like you said, from the crowd to the knockout to how he hurt Ryder early on. Because when you hurt a fighter early on, the crowd gets on your side and they don't stop. So again, I think Munguia is on his way to getting some major fights. I don't expect him to keep that hold for too long, but at the end of the day, if you want to go down in the annals of boxing history, you're gonna have to fight these big names, and even if you come up short, you'll remain in their hearts. So again, can't wait to see what Munguia does next. Berlanga makes sense. Caleb Plant makes sense. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for Munguia is, to me, and I'm sure to most people, he didn't have really that momentum. I don't think he was able to call out Canelo or Benavides or these guys. Now the momentum is on his side. Like, to me, a fight with Canelo, it was, I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, he doesn't deserve to be in there. Benavides, I'm like, no. Now it's like, okay, now he makes things interesting. So I think that's one of the things that Munguia kind of proved in this fight. He got the momentum. He has a lot of fans behind him. Chris, he's pretty good on camera. He's respectful. He's humble. He's a good speaker. He relates. He one of the clips that you guys got him saying that he was going to go to Tijuana a chingarse unos tacos. Like, who can't relate to that?
Yeah.
So he's a relatable guy.
Yeah, like you said, I think he said the right things, and I think it's all very sincere. He talked about how he hears the criticism of the Mexican fans and the Mexican crowd, and how how he wanted to get in this knockout. And so, yeah, like you said, Joe, he says all the right things. Like you said, he's naturally humble. Obviously, when you have a guy like Canelo, who's a little flashy, uh, he's not rude, but he's just a very serious guy. You're gonna divide that Mexican crowd, and that Mexican crowd is, they're always looking for the next Julio Cesar Chavez, the come forward, take two shots on the chin to land yours. They're always gonna gravitate to that, and Munguia has that. So we'll see what happens. If he gets in there with some big names next, that can catapult into a fight with a Benavides or a Canelo.
Yeah, and Jesus says Ryder was there for purpose to make Munguia look good, he says. He also says mostly Junior versus Munguia. Interesting. Ryder said Munguia hits harder than Canelo. Munguia looks very strong at 168, says El Pachuco. Yeah, he's also bigger. He's 5'11", 6 feet tall. He's naturally, I think, a bigger frame. And Big Bro says Canelo also had an injury in that fight. Yeah, let's make that clear too. That was a tune-up for Canelo. That was a fight in Guadalajara. That was a fight after the hand surgery. That's one of the things that he mentioned post-fight. He got the surgery. He wanted to test out the hand. And then once he looked good in that fight, he said, all right, I'm ready to go. So, yeah, I think both guys were fighting for different things. But, yeah, you still got to give Munguia credit because on paper, that's what people are going to point to, right? Hey, he stopped Canelo. Canelo couldn't stop Ryder. So, Mad Dog Ace says, Munguia going to Tijuana a la comida china. To Hong Kong, he says. Oh, man. I should read these comments before I read them out loud, Chris.
Yeah, I read that one. I've never heard of that restaurant, but I mean, if that's what Mad Dog you into, that's all right with me. I actually shout out to Jesus. That's a very good comment there with Mosley Jr. against Munguia. If I'm Mosley Jr., you know, and somebody says that, like, hey, do you want Munguia? You take that. That's the biggest payday of your career. Obviously, to a guy like Munguia, the Mosley name is carries weight. He could do Mexico versus USA. You know, and hey, that makes sense. And to Mosley, he may not be as boxically sound as a Charlo, but hey, he's got some good skills. He's a friend of the show. We've had him on before. If I'm him and I get the call, I'm rooting for him because that's a big payday, man. And you never know, man. You never know. Catch Munguia on a bad night, you can walk away with the W. But yeah, that's a good take by you, Jesus.
Hey, how's the food out there, Mad Dog? Let us know if you know. Let us know. Hey, chat be wilding after 9 p.m., Chris. Man.
What was a running joke that we had? You go to TJ with $20, you come back with 40. Hey, it's cheap out there, man.
One of the funniest podcasts we've done, that was with Jeff Mayweather, correct? He was talking about fights in Tijuana and this and that, and we were joking about how things were so cheap over there. And like Chris said, we were joking, hey, you go over there with a set amount of money and you come back with more somehow. You're like, oh shit, I wasted $2.
Ooh, damn, good stuff. Reach out to Jeff Mayweather, man. We gotta go visit that guy.
El Pachuco saying he got money on Canelo over Benavidez. If that happens in May, he says he has Canelo by schooling. Hey man, look, I've stood firm. I've had Canelo all along. I don't think Benavidez is ready either. Defense, a little suspect. Chris, well, tell me this. What's the difference between Munguia and Benavidez? Because I'd like to know. And that's not disrespectful. I'm just putting it out there. What's the difference between both of them?
I would say Benavidez has more speed. I mean, but they're both flawed on the defensive end. They both don't use a lot of head movement. Both volume punchers, very strong guys. I would say Munguia has a little bit more sound fundamentals, but Benavidez is a dog. So I mean, that's a great fight. That's a great fight between those two cats. But yeah, man. Again, if those two guys fight, the winner has all the rights to Canelo, man. Because again, if you control the crowd, which is a Mexican crowd, you control the king, man. In my opinion, so that's one way I would look at it. If I can't get Canelo, I'm gonna get the second best guy, which is the other Mexican across from me, and hey, ahí me la rifo.
All right, we'll go to some last comments here on this topic. Canelo by a counter KO in the middle round, says Big Bro. Everybody conveniently forgets they had Ryder easily beating Munguia before this fight. Now after the fight, everybody changed their tune to it being an okay performance. He's talking to the haters, El Pachuco. Big Bro says kind of what you said. Benavidez better defense, quicker hands, and bigger naturally. Jesus also saying Munguia wanted no part of Janibek at 160. Janibek is the real deal, man. Nobody wants that guy. Nobody says his name. But yeah, he's at 168 now. Man, Abida should rematch Gabriel. Someone more on his level, says El Pachuco. Might get dropped again. You never know. But yeah, Chris, let's cap this convo. Like I said, you were there. Give us your last thoughts on this, your summary. How good did Munguia look in this fight?
Again, I think he, like you say, he looked good. He looked, he had a solid performance. But I think he won the crowd more than anything. More than anything, he's gotten people to talk about him. He's gotten people to call out Canelo's name for him. And even though in the press conference it didn't seem like he was highly enthused for that, his promoter was, which is Oscar de la Hoya. And I told Arnold earlier, or I said this earlier, Oscar's a guy that he's not looking to protect your he's looking to get you in with the biggest fights. So yeah, I think Oscar wants the Canelo fight, whether it's for vengeance, whether it's to for whatever history they have, but Oscar really wants this fight, and let's see if Munguia can get it in the next 12 months.
Yeah, there you have it. And I'm not sure if you touched on the attendance earlier, but Jesus is asking how's the attendance. It was a smaller arena, correct? It looked pretty small.
But it was full, over 10,000 people in attendance. It looks stacked, man. I don't know if you got the video, Gio, but hicieron la ola, and to hacer la ola, you need to have a full arena. So it was pretty packed, man. I was impressed.
Okay. Anything interesting on the undercard? I know Gabriela Fundora got a victory. Little controversial there. Her opponent turned away from her, got punched a couple times, didn't turn back, and the referee called it.
Yeah, Gabriela Fundora, I think she's the goods, man. She's the girl from Coachella Valley, living right now in San Bernardino, but she's the big girl, lengthy girl. I don't see her losing anytime soon. I feel like she's gonna have that division up for a while. And as for another fight in that card, Oscar Collazo, the Boricua del Puertorriqueño, fought well, man. He looked great at finishing his opponent. Didn't give him time to breathe, and in that opening entrance, man, he just reminded me a little bit of that Tito Trinidad energy. Speaking in the native Spanish, wearing the Puerto Rico hat, coming up to Puerto Rican songs, man. He's gonna be well liked not just by Puerto Rican fans, but by Hispanic fans.
There you have it on my end. Hey, Munguia looked good, brought the people out, made some noise, and we'll see. That's good momentum. That's good. That's always good for selling a future fight. But that's that on Munguia, the Zone. I'm still not subbed. I don't know if you guys care or not, but I'm still not subbed to the Zone. I paid for my month. Watch some Bam Rodriguez, watch Burge Ortiz, and I was cool with that. We'll get into the schedule in a little bit, but that's that, Chris. What else do we want to talk about? We know Teofimo's coming up February 8th. We'll touch on that next week. That's on a Thursday, Super Bowl weekend. We also got some fight announcements, Chris, before we talk about the topics that you wanted to touch on. Tim Zhu, he's coming to the States. Keith Thurman coming back from retirement. What do we think on that? What are our thoughts?
Man, at first I was shocked that fight got announced. Obviously, we know Keith Thurman. He's a name. He was one of the very best at 147. Funny guy, entertaining. He's been in there with all the names at 147, including the great Manny Pacquiao. Came up short on that one, but I like Keith. When this fight was announced, I was like, what the heck? Keith has been inactive for 4 years? And he's going up a division. So I don't know how he's going to do, but very excited. Tim Zhu is a monster. So yeah, man, it's going to be a night.
Yeah, man. Dude, I don't know. This matchmaking was a little interesting with PBC, right? That's supposed to be on Amazon Prime, they're saying. I've heard no official announcements by Prime. They're saying every fight is going to be pay-per-view. Those are the rumors. Of course, they announced the Rollies Pitbull fight on that undercard, correct?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if this is good for Keith Thurman, man. Away from the ring for so long, and you're fighting a killer. Guy with a lot of power, guy with a lot of momentum. Whew, this might be bad news for Keith, man. One time. Man.
Again, he's a great fighter, but it's like you said, it's been a long time away from the ring, and no tune-up fights, no warming up, nothing. That's you don't just do that with anybody, and you don't do that with a guy like Tim Tszyu. Again, this guy is a bigger guy. Good fundamentals, power, come forward. He pretty much breaks down everything that's in front of him. So, yeah, man, it's a dangerous fight in my opinion for Keith Thurman. But
yeah, let's go to some comments here.
Man.
Comments. Tszyu by murder, says Big Bro. Within 3 rounds, PBC has no shame. At least, the WBO, I think, did not sanction it. Yeah, they were saying they were not going to sanction that fight because Keith hasn't fought at 54 and he hasn't fought in so long. I mean, Al Heyman says, Tim, you must give my PBC guys a payday like Thurman. And Sergeant says, good thing that Bozo's getting KO'd.
Damn. And it's a tough fight, Gio. I mean, again, I like Keith. But this is a dangerous fight. Again, even if he was active these last 4 years, and let's say he had even one fight at 154, it's still tough. You're going against one of the very best at 154, so it's tough, man. I don't know. I need to see. I wish I would have seen him like in a tune-up fight, looking great. That would have made me feel like, okay, he can do something at 154. But to go straight to the big fish, it's tough, man.
Yeah, and Big Bro said on the chat, our boy Ashton Silva is fighting this Friday on DAZN, February 2nd, Orlando, Florida. He's fighting as Stevan Falcao, 13-2, 7 KOs. So stepping up a little bit in competition. Ashton 10-0, 9 KOs. His opponent 13-2 with 7 KOs. So another guy to look out for, Ashton. I think he just turned 21 maybe recently. So yeah, I'll find a way to watch that one, Chris. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Hey, we're gonna support from afar, man. I mean, not with our dollars, but with our views. So again, anything less than a knockout, in my opinion, is not what Ashton wants. So I predict the knockout. He needs to stay on that, and yeah, keep moving up, like you said.
No hezzy. Chris is already making predictions. A couple months out. Big Bro says, retire Keith once upon a time for good.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a good card, Jay. Like you said, we talked to Arnold about the whole Ryan and that whole 140-pound stuff that's going on there. Hey, not a bad card, right? Undercard, you got Rollies and
not bad.
Eastside Cruz there, so that's a pretty good card, man. Already.
I'm mad at it. Look, I don't want to throw jabs at anyone, but you can't just announce fights that are not official. Like, come on, man. We don't know what to believe nowadays. Like, even when a fight seems official, I wait maybe a day. And if they haven't deleted that post, it's like, all right, I guess it's on.
Yeah. I think Ryan was the one that, started that trend. I mean, it's always been there here and there. Ryan, I guess, announcing that Pacquiao fight and then, this fight and then that fight. And, man, too much.
All right, man, we are about an hour in. We had our boy Arnold Barboza Jr. join us for the beginning of the show. Big shout out to him. You can replay this live podcast if you want to listen to. If you're just tuning in, I know a lot of you guys are, and you want to listen to what he had to say. I'm also going to chop it up into clips, post some stuff there on Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you guys want to call it. But yeah, 140 heating up, man. It's a hot division. He mentioned Jose Carlos Ramirez. He mentioned Subriel Matias, who no one mentions his name. They want to pretend like he's not a champion. BoxRec had him at number 8, I believe, on their ranking. Disrespectful, but that's a guy right there, man. I know they had those rumors with Teofimo. I did not believe him 1 second. Teofimo deciding to fight Jermaine Ortiz. That one's coming up too. We'll talk about it next week, but 140, a lot going on. We'll see what fights get made, man. A lot of rumors out there, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, again, I'm sure that Arnold's probably going to take a little trip down to Vegas 2 weeks from now, and go scout that fight there between Jermaine and
Hey,
Pitbull.
as long as no one retires, we're all good, Chris.
Man, are you buying this, Gio? Are you buying this? Are you
No.
entertaining this retirement?
No, what is he gonna do? Be a math teacher?
Yeah,
He has to
man.
fight at some point.
I think right now, I don't know who I'm more annoyed at: Shakur with his Twitter fingers, or Ryan with his flip flopping. You let us know in the comments, guys. Which one is annoying you most? I think they're right there with each other, Gio.
Man, I was reading some of the comments. Someone's like, "Good, man, your fights are boring anyway." To Shakur, but
Yeah.
it's all good. Kangaroo Boxing says Liam Paro coming at 140. Yeah, good opponent, a guy no one's calling out either. I know Arnold has been wanting those names, because seemed like before he signed to Golden Boy, things kind of stalled a little bit. He had to resort to calling guys like Catterall, like Paro, because he wasn't getting any of the top guys to get in there with him. He fought against Salcedo, man. That's a tough fight. To me, that's top 2, top 3 fights for him. That was a war, But hopefully he gets one of those fights, man. I'd like to see him in there. I don't know if it's Ramirez. I know Sargent says Ramirez. I think, that's stylistically a good fight, but there's some fights out there for Arnold, man. There's some fights for him. There's a lot of names out there.
Yeah, for me, like I remember he was calling out Liam Paro before I even knew who he was, and obviously when you look at the box rec, you're like, why is he calling out this guy that's probably in the same boat as him, undefeated, not well known to the mainstream? That's risky. But like you said, Gio, he's just he has to stay busy and fight guys and keep proving that that he's up there with the very best. So once I saw Liam Paro, I was like, okay, this guy's really good. So we'll see where they land, but they might end up fighting. You never know, Gio. They may not be able to get those names out there. He may have to fight a guy like Liam Paro. But yeah, again, with the whole Saudis, getting into the game, it looks like promoters are finally working a little bit more than usual. So hopefully we get those fights tonight because money talks.
Josh Taylor to rematch Catterall too, supposedly, says Big Bro. I did hear about that. Boxing Kangaroo says Arnold and Liam would be a war. And then some more matchmaking here. Lindolfo Delgado says Sargent versus Liam Paro. Man, there's a lot of names out there, man. And hopefully, the top guys doesn't seem like they want to fight each other, right? Teofimo did fight Josh Taylor, but beyond that, let's keep it real. Who else is fighting each other at 40? Those guys haven't got in there really with each other. So hopefully the Arnolds, the Liams, even Jose Ramirez, I think he lost his spot as one of the top dogs. But hopefully those guys can get it on and force, those top guys to get in there, man. You either got to go up to 47 or vacate or what. Those guys are there knocking at your door. The fights are there to be made, man.
Yeah. When we first met Arnold, I mean, again, 2019. I remember looking at the box rec. He was in the 30s. I mean, of course, like fast forward to now, you wish you had those fights, but you look at his box rec now. He's at number 4, number 5. So I mean, sooner or later, he can't be that guy. So hopefully, he gets those big names, those big purses. Again, at the end of the day, these guys are prize fighters, so they need those big fights. Because it's only a short window of time that they fight in. They need to get their bags, man. So yeah, hopefully our boy Arnold gets those big fights with the Devin Haney's, with the Teofimo Lopez's, and then the like.
Yes, sir. We'll be getting out of here shortly, but we'll go to some comments here. El Vaquero's a beast, says Boxing Kangaroo. But Pachuco saying Navarrete will be a 4-division champion soon. His fight just got announced, right, against Berinchik.
Yeah.
Right, Chris? So that's coming up. Also, another fight. I don't want to, just skip over that, but actually, Sargent just mentioned it here. Kambosos Lomachenko in Australia. Kambosos got the best fights in Australia, says Sargent. What are your thoughts on that? I'm not sure if you heard what Paulie Malignaggi had to say, but him and Kambosos were beefing, or Kambosos beefing with him. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this fight? It's for a vacant belt.
A lot of people are gonna say these are Devin Haney's leftovers. These are two guys that took L's against Devin Haney. So who cares? But I think
Loma didn't lose, Chris. Loma didn't lose.
I think this is an important fight because I think this is a kind of crossroads fight for Kambosos, just getting wiped out by Devin Haney, not being competitive at all, taking those 2 L's, and Lomachenko, and just being in his mid to coming up on his late 30s. It's a crossroads fight. So I think the winner keeps their career going. The loser probably thinks about hanging them up because, again, it's going to be one of their last big paydays. So you want to enjoy your money. So this is definitely a crossroads fight. And the winner keeps going. The loser probably considers retiring.
Yeah, I think Lomachenko should be favored in this fight. I think he should win this fight. But I think it's great for Australia. I mean, to get a star like Lomachenko at the tail end of his career, I think that's big for them. And like I said, I think he should shine. Kamboso's not the biggest guy at 135. We know Loma tends to be much smaller than his opponents, undersized at 135. So he's kind of going to fight a guy around his size physically, So I'm not mad at it. And maybe Lomachenko has one last run in him, but we'll see. People like me still think he won the undisputed title by defeating Haney, but on paper that's not gonna show. So now you get a fight in Australia. I'm sure he's getting a bag. Can't be mad at that. Should be decent. I hope it's not pay-per-view. Not sure it's pay-per-view worthy. Top Rank does a good job at that. We get a lot of fights for quote-unquote free, on ESPN, ESPN Plus or whatnot. But yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, and I was about to watch that Paulie video, Joe, and I got interrupted at work.
Okay.
At work.
He was essentially, he was essentially saying that there shouldn't be a title fight, and I don't even. I think I watched. I know Big Bro watches their show a lot. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I mean, I don't think he was trying to diss Kambosos. He was just saying, not sure that he should be getting these opportunities. Kambosos took it way back. He said, man, you haven't been relevant since 2013. AB took your belt and your girl. He resorted back to that, right? And then Paulie actually came back and said, hey, look, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to the guy. He was kind of like the grown person in this quote unquote beef. He said, I don't have beef with him, but yeah, look, Kambosos not shy to type away on X. A lot of his stuff is funny. I enjoy it. I remember when Shakur had that fight with De Los Santos, he had someone take a picture of him laying down on his couch, watching the fight on his phone, and asleep at the same time. He was taking a nap. So he's a funny guy.
Yeah, no, I enjoy some smash, some smart trash talking. So yeah, man, he's funny. Yeah, man, we'll see. I think I did hear Paulie say something about Kambosos maximizing the most, off that Teofimo win, which he did. He got some major paydays with Devin Haney. He's getting this fight with Lomachenko. So to an extent, Paulie's right, and to an extent, Kambosos talking trash is hilarious and fun. So we'll take it.
Stevenson retired from boxing in order to pursue track and field in the next Olympics, says Pachuco. I like that. I like that. I heard he had a lot of sponsors lining up after that fight. A lot of New Balance, Asics. What's the other ones? Roku? I forgot. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Those running shoes. Boxing Kangaroo, are you from Australia? He says it's the golden years for Australian boxing. 3 current world champs, Tim, Jai, and Jason Maloney. Jason, who was in a war recently. Is that the right Jason, or am I getting the wrong brother? But yeah, I think that's the one that fought on the Callum Arthur undercard recently. Big Bro saying, yeah, probably took the road. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say you got a 50% chance of getting it right, bro.
And I'm always wrong. Cambosos would have a point if it wasn't for him being a chump that had the luckiest night of his life when he beat Theo. He got the Reebok deal, says Sergeant. Mizuno, Brooks. Yeah, all those. There's another one that starts with an A, I think. With the R, sorry. I'll look him up. But yeah, he says Saul Sanchez. Yep, that's the one. That's the one. He says he's Australian. Shout out to you, Boxing Kangaroo, watching live from Australia. Don't they have a lot of bugs out there? Like a lot of people complain about like the wild animals and shit and bugs. I don't know. I'd like to go at some point over there, catch a fight. That would be sick, Chris.
Yeah.
We gotta hit the road. We gotta hit the road like Loma. Big Bro says USA, England, and now Australia for Loma. He's like Usyk, the road warrior.
So Gio, I'm trying to time like a date where I can go to Australia and cover a zoo fight. So, like with Canelo, okay, I'm gonna say this on there. I actually bought tickets for May 4th weekend, hoping that Canelo's gonna fight that weekend. So I bought them like 3 months ago, something like that, when they're cheap. Because once that fight is announced, those prices go up. So hopefully, man, hopefully. And I'm trying to do the same thing for Australia, man. And if I can kind of time down where I think Tim Tszyu is gonna fight after this fight, we'll probably take a trip down to Australia. But we'll see, man. You gotta play the numbers game and do the maths there.
He said we got everything that'll kill you out here.
Dude, no wonder they're good at boxing. You got kangaroos out there, man.
Motherfuckers sparring kangaroos in the wild. That would be dope. Hey, those Tim Tszyu shows over there, man, they made me a fan. They made me a fan. At first, you know how it is, Chris, when there's a legend and then the son fights, they always get kind of judged with a different bar, different measuring stick. And I think at first, of course, we're like, oh, we'll see. Costas, of course, was a legend. You know, unforgettable. That fight against Zab. You know, one of the craziest stoppages ever. You know, his son was coming up. Of course, we were a little iffy, but now I'm sold. I'm sold on Tim. I'm sold. We might go watch him in Vegas, Chris. I'm sold.
I think with Tim, I think his whole story is really interesting. I mean, not just the fact that he's, the son of a legend and, following in the footsteps, but I mean that his dad lives in a different country. Like they're not like with each other. So it's crazy. It's almost like Mayweather and his pops for a while there. So again, it's admirable that Tim is, trying to create his own story, his own legacy, But yeah, man, he's the goods, man, and he definitely got that power and those gifts straight from his dad. So yeah, man, I'm excited for this fight.
Costa also defeated Julio Cesar Chavez, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
Julio Cesar Chavez was actually at the Munguia fight.
So. Yeah, he had a lot of praise for Munguia too. He was giving him advice before the fight. They were showing some clips there on the zone. So yeah, look, he has the backing of the Mexican people, man. I'm telling you, this guy brought people out there. Amir Khan said, hey, I hadn't watched much of Munguia, but that he's the real deal. He was talking about it. Of course, he said, I wouldn't fight Canelo right away, but he was saying he became a fan of Munguia. Actually told us a story that they're staying at the same hotel, and actually Munguia came up to him when he was going to breakfast and asked him for a picture, and they talked for a little bit, and Amir said, hey, I wouldn't fight Canelo right away, take your time, don't rush it as a business, but Yeah, Hyman got some backing, just like Tim. He's getting a lot of backing from everybody, not just in Australia, but Boxing Kangaroo says Tim's walking the walk right now. He retired Chavez Sr. Yeah, says Boxing.
Man, we'll see, man. Again, it's a bunch of good fights already on the horizon, man. You got Usyk versus Tyson Fury in about 2.5 weeks, man. I'm excited. I'm super excited about that one. I'm gonna say it now, Gio. The winner of that one is gonna be in position number 1 for fight of the year, regardless of what happens after, man. I think that is the fight to not miss this year already.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Usyk versus Fury.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's coming up. I haven't heard too much about it, Chris. I'm a little disappointed. This is supposed to be the biggest heavyweight bout in such a long time. Undisputed. The 2 heavyweights of this era. I don't think many people can dispute that. Right? The most skilled in Usyk against really a just physically gifted athlete in Tyson Fury. How many guys do you see, athletes period, who are 6 feet 9 inches tall? Never mind boxing. I don't think we've ever seen a guy like that who's also skilled, who's also defeated some good names. So yeah, these guys are fighting to see who's the best heavyweight of this era. Like, forget all that undisputed stuff, forget all the belts. These are the 2 best heavyweights that we've seen in a long time. 2 of the most skilled heavyweights we've seen ever, I'm gonna dare to say. So this is a big fight, Chris. I can't believe I'm the one hyping it up. I haven't heard anything about this in the past few weeks.
The disrespect on this fight, man, is astonishing. Again, like you said it, Gio, it pins the 2 very best heavyweights of this era. You got a guy in Usyk, one of the most decorated amateurs in the heavyweight ranks. You know, a guy that won everything there is to win at cruiserweight and that made the jump to heavyweight, where a lot of people said, you know, he's too small. He's not going to be able to compete with the Joshuas, with all these other guys. And you saw what he did. He just beat the most marketable heavyweight, you know, in the last, 7 years, and Anthony Joshua pretty convincingly twice. And then you got a guy in Tyson Fury, the funniest mouth in all of the heavyweight ranks. We saw what he did to the biggest puncher in the last 20 years, maybe the biggest puncher in all of heavyweight history, in Deontay Wilder. So yeah, this one pretty much pins the 2 very best. I might even say the winner of this fight is going to be ranking in the top 5 heavyweights of all time, alongside the Alis and alongside the very best in heavyweight history. So yeah, man, I'm so excited for this fight. I don't expect a knockout, but if it does, it's going to be scintillating. But man, it's going to be a chess match of heavyweights.
Let's go, mate. Yeah, we'll be talking about it more next week. It's going to be a great show. Look, we're going to preview Teofimo Lopez, Jermaine Ortiz, that undercard. Other fight announcement they just announced: Siniesa Estrada versus Yocasta Valle. It seems like our guy Raymond Morataya is going to be on that undercard. I don't know if you saw that post, Chris, but they're already promoting it. That fight is in Arizona as well, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, things heating up, man. Things heating up. So let us know if there are any other fight announcements that we missed. But I mean, hey, it's looking good, man. Looking good. 2023, great year, terrific year. We'll see what 2024 has. January was cool, Chris. Now it's February time. We'll see, man. And of course, Teofimo is gonna kick off some of the action. We got some fights too, like Ashton Sill fighting this Friday as well. You know, very good prospect from Long Beach, California, our hometown. So stay tuned. He signed to Jake Paul, MVP promotion. So he's up next. So yeah, stay tuned. Last comments here. Let's see what we got. Jai Apatai, a lot of comments about Jai. He's the real deal. That knockout he got in that Saudi card in the first round, that was no joke. That was impressive.
Yeah, I want to see more of this young man, but yeah, this is there's a lot of hype behind him, but it's warranted. Just an exceptional talent, and yeah, man, I can't wait to to see what's more, because this is really just the beginning. This kid has a good frame, and he can go up in multiple weight classes. So yeah, let's see what he brings next.
Boxing Kangaroo says Oscar Valdez is Liam Wilson. Is Liam Wilson from Australia? I can't remember.
I think he's from the UK, but
he might be from the UK. But hey, that's a fight. Upset alert. Upset alert. If you guys watched that fight against Navarrete, Liam Wilson had Navarrete hurt. Navarrete had to pull that veteran move, spit out the mouth guard, bought himself some time. That's a fight. Upset alert. He says, yeah, he's from Australia. Yeah. Wilson beats Valdez's big bro. Hey, man, Wilson's no joke. He's a big dude. He had Navarrete in trouble, and honestly, if they don't stop that fight, I'm sure he would have continued. That dude showed a lot of heart, too. Crazy power. So he's going to have a big size advantage over Valdez. Don't sleep on that fight, man. That's not a wash. That's not a wash for Valdez. Man, that's a good fight.
So I'm gonna go look at the odds, man. If they're way up on Valdez, I might put some money down.
That's a fight, right?
You're right, Gio. I was gonna say, like, nobody's ever heard Navarrete. I don't think anybody was used to seeing Navarrete hurt, unless you've seen him early in his fights. But yeah, that was a little bit shocking, and yeah, Wilson almost pulled off the upset on that one, man.
1000%. Last comment here. Last two comments. El Pachuco says, I respect Oscar Valdez because he is a small 130-pounder fighting much bigger guys. Yeah, I think he made a similar comment to Loma being the best guy at 130. Yeah, these guys could have fought at smaller weight classes, maybe bigger bags up there. But, yeah, I mean, it's always tough. Look at Navarrete. As he's going up in weight, he's struggling a little bit more. That power, obviously it's there, but it's not the same punching a 122-pounder, 126-pounder as punching a guy like Liam Wilson who's 6 feet tall. It's different. And then last comment here, Mexican and Aussie style best in boxing, says Boxing Kangaroo. Action, action, action. Yeah, that's what we're looking forward to, man. Shout out to Top Rank. Good fights. Good fights coming up. But Chris, I think that's all I have. Once again, we want to thank Arnold for joining us. Great talk with him. He spoke on Teofimo, Rollies, Ryan, all the stuff going on at 140. Jose Carlos Ramirez, Golden Boy. Like I said, if you guys tuned in a little late, you guys can rewind this live podcast. I will also be posting short clips. And we'll get more guests on here to join us, Chris.
Again, once again, thank you guys for joining the chat and dropping your comments, keeping the podcast moving. You guys make it fun. And special shout out to Amir Khan, man. It was just luck that I was able to run into him as I was leaving my hotel. So that was dope. Just talking to him, it just felt like a conversation between two boys, man. Again, could have kept talking for hours. I feel Amir Khan has done it all, man. He's been in there with the best. He's giving fight fans some of the best fights of the last 10, 15 years. And again, that's why he gets so much love, so much respect, not just from his own fan base from the UK, but fans all over the world. So I mean, huge shout out to that dude. Just an overall great guy and an awesome fighter, man. So shout out to Amir King Khan.
Yeah, and he dropped a lot of good stuff, man. He gave a lot of props to Canelo. He talked about the possible Mayweather fight, possible Pacquiao fights, and why those didn't happen. He said he was impressed with Munguia. He talked about a lot of stuff, man. It looked like he was very happy to speak to you, humble. He was saying whether he lives in Dubai now, so he can walk around freely and no one bothers him. And over here in the States, he was, man, I was surprised that people still remember me, but as you called him, Chris, and rightfully so, he's a boxing legend. He said it made him feel old, but hey, man, he gave us a lot of great fights. That 140-pound division, man, I can't remember it being so good, like ever. I know I'm not that old, but Amir Khan, Victor Ortiz, Bam Bam Rios, Lamont Peterson, Chino Maidana. Who else am I missing, Chris? I know I'm missing somebody, but those guys at 140, Danny Garcia. I know Danny kind of came a little later. He didn't fight a lot of those guys, but at least at 140. But man, That was fire. And those fights were on regular HBO too, no pay-per-view stuff.
Yeah. You forgot the great Paulie Malignaggi. Come on now.
This guy.
But yeah, good question, Joe. What was your favorite fight of Amir Khan?
My favorite fight. Oh, it's got to be the Chino Maidana, man. I don't know how he won that fight. He won, right? These fights were so long ago, but I know he won the fight. I know the body shots to Maidana hurt him. Maidana power puncher. We know. Hey, look, Amir Khan's chin. It's no secret, right? But against a power puncher like Maidana, man, that's a big win right there.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, man. I was gonna say that one because I remember prior to that fight, everybody was telling him like, "Dude, are you crazy? You're known for not having the best chin. This guy's a puncher. Like, why would you get in there with this guy?" And I think that's why people really gravitated to Amir. That no matter win, lose, or draw, he was always going to put on an exciting fight. And any moment he could lose a fight, he could be winning, he could be up on the rounds, he could be going 9-0, and you still have to be careful up until that last round. And that Chino Maidana fight, man, amazing, man. Just seeing his bloodstream speed, seeing Maidana go down, you see Maidana land those big overhands. It was a great fight, man. I remember that one like it was yesterday. Man, that's the type of fights that keep people respecting you and remembering you.
Yeah, and I've always said Amir Khan was in my top 5 most entertaining boxers that I personally like to watch because somebody was getting hurt. You knew that. He had the fastest hands in the game, not the greatest chin, so that made for great action. So shout out to him. He was a bit like surprised and impressed that people consider him a legend and that people still remember these fights. But hey, man, we don't forget. We don't forget these big fights. Windy City says he missed the Arnold interview. Yeah, I mean, you were a little late, but hey, it's up there. It's up there. You can rewind it. Boxing Kangaroo says, I'm a new sub. Great show. See you guys next time. Peace. Carnales. Adios, amigo. We'll see you soon. Pachuco says, cheers, guys. Take care. Maidana fight as well. Windy City. Pachuco says, Valdez is going to sick his crocodiles on you for talking trash. Hey, that's crazy. I can't believe he does that. Man, that looks scary. Props to him.
When I went to Guatemala, dude, I fed some frogs, man. I'm never getting that close ever again. They're insane, man. Mm.
Crocodiles, snakes, Crocs, the shoes. I don't mess with any of them. But hey, let's get out of here, man. We're about an hour and a half in. Great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for keeping that chat lit. I wonder what time it is in Australia. Shout out to you, Boxing Kangaroo, man. That's dope that you're tuning in from that far away. Shout out to all the people here in Cali too. LA, y'all lucky. It's 9 p.m. over 10 p.m. almost over here. Great weather. It's been hot. We got no crazy wild animals. We good out here, but we got to visit Australia someday. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you guys, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back soon, mates. Big show next week. Teofimo Lopez. We'll be talking Usyk Fury as well. Don't miss it.
Peace.
Let's go, mate. Let's go, mates.
Let's go, Jaime.
Jaime Munguia.
Jaime Munguia. Munguia. Let's go.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time on y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.